Welcome back to another episode of the Live Your Yes Life podcast. Lisa here. I will be your host for today. So if you're someone who has found yourself setting the same goals year after year because you didn't quite reach them the year before, this podcast is for you. We're going to talk about the one thing that most people do that actually stops them from reaching their goals. It's something that's not talked about in traditional goal setting terms. We're often taught the strategy and the step-by-step, but we don't always talk about what is actually required in order to become the person that hits that goal and all of your goals beyond that. So what I'd love for you to do is just start by thinking about your goals for next year. What I've noticed is that most entrepreneurs, and I know a lot of you are that are listening here, most of us take some time, often in between Christmas and New Year's, to get reflective, to get still. It's kind of like that in-between time where things settle a little bit from the holiday. We start thinking about, what do I really want to create next year? You know, even you've probably at this point, if you've been in business for a bit, you've probably already done a lot of your business goal setting. But I still find there is something about being in the dark of winter, especially where I am in, pretty far north. But the days are shorter, right? We have more darkness this time of year. We're in the space of wintering, and we tend to just get reflective, to think about what's coming, to think about what's next, particularly this year being a 9 universal year, where we're right on the edge of stepping into a brand new 9-year cycle. So what you'll typically do, and what most experts will teach, as I said, is to have you lay out your goals. Now, in our world, we invite our clients to really think about all the areas of life, right? Before you set your business goal, be really clear. What is the experience of life that you want to have? Think about your business, think about your clients, but also think about you and your relationships and your well-being, your health and wellness, your spiritual practices, like all of those things, right? Because we want to bring all of you to the table. This is about creating your yes life. So what are all of the things that you're going to be saying yes to in 2026? And if you haven't done your goal setting yet for the year, this process will definitely support you. So typically what I love to do is have my clients get started with thinking about the experiences that they want to have in the year to come, so that they can get really, really clear on not just what it looks like, not just the things they want to acquire or achieve, but really what it feels like to be walking through their life. And are they designing it in a way that feels completely fulfilling, exciting, is pulling them forward? So this is a time of year often when people are doing vision boards, really writing things down, mapping out the step-by-steps. We often teach our clients to work backwards, think about the end goal and then work it backwards from there so you can kind of get clear on the step-by-step. And all of this is pretty standard, right, in the goal setting world. And it works. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's incomplete. There's a missing step that once you implement will completely change the way that you approach reaching your goals in the following years to come. So what I want you to do is, once you get clear on what it is that you want, think about what you're designing for your life and for your business. Once you get clear, and I even like to do this even after I've mapped out that step-by-step strategy, I want you to ask yourself, who do I need to become in order to reach these goals and not get sidetracked this year? Who do I need to become? Because it's really, if it were just about taking the step-by-step actions, we would all reach our goals every time, right? It's not about that. It's about the version of you who is able to take those steps even when life gets messy. It's about the version of you who's able to be so dialed in with her or his beliefs that when you have a setback, when something doesn't go the way it's planned, you keep going. You find a workaround. You take the learning and keep going. Because this is the place where most goals fall apart. It's like people start really strong and it's like the first couple of weeks, there's excitement, there's momentum, things are going well. And then suddenly lifes. The kids get sick or something happens, something doesn't go as planned, and then suddenly we find ourselves reverting back into old habits. Or, life gets messy and we can find ourselves just simply responding or reacting to whatever it is that's coming up until suddenly you look up a few weeks later and realize you're completely off track of your goals. And I don't want that to happen to you this year. So I'm going to give you I'm going to give you 5 questions, and I'll put them in the show notes for you as well, that when you sit down to do your journaling, reflecting, vision boarding, goal setting, you can answer these 5 questions that are going to really help you dial in who you get to become this year. This is going to be the inner work that actually makes all of the difference in achieving your outer results. So I want you to think about the goals that you've set, right? How will you think? How will you lead yourself? How will you respond when things come up in life? How are you going to relate to your goals and yourself and your relationships and all of the things that are going to be required of you to suddenly be moving through the world differently? And understanding and having a plan for, now I get that you may not know exactly what is going to be required, but you're going to be able to see where you need a breakthrough. You're going to be able to see where you've got some old habits that generally get in the way. So often, you've probably heard us talk about it on this podcast too. We talk a lot about tapping into this future version of ourselves. By tapping into who we are becoming in the future, it can inform what we need to know right now. But what I want to share today in this podcast is that it's not even about waiting to become this future version of you. It's really about starting to embody that version now today. And this will come in small but consistent ways, right? Like the more that you spend time actually getting clear on how you will be different and making a plan for it, the more likely you will be to start shifting right now. And you'll notice that you actually have a different approach to goal setting than you've ever had before. So I want to just take a second to walk through these 5 questions with you. So the first question, and again, these are in the show notes, so if you're listening on the go, you do not have to write these down. I just want to give you an idea of what you'll be leaning into. The first question is, who does this goal require me to become in order to reach it with integrity, with ease? Who is this going to require me to become? And you can spend some time there just thinking about, I'm going to have to be a person who is willing to go to bed on time at night and get enough rest. Like that's just who I'm going to have to become, right? Or I'm going to have to become someone who's willing to be vulnerable and ask for support and help. This could be anything. I'm just giving you guys some ideas, but dig deep here and ask yourself. This will give you an idea of what needs to change or where there's a breakthrough needed. Question 2 is, what patterns, reactions, or ways of leading myself will no longer work at this level, right? So what are some of the patterns I typically do? What do you notice about yourself? Maybe, going back to my previous example, I'm always staying up too late and then I, oversleep, or maybe you have a pattern of not being organized and that continues to get in your way. Maybe you have a certain way that you react and something comes up and you find yourself reacting instead of staying focused on your goals. Maybe you notice that you sort of abandon your goals in order to help other people, or, you just like you don't have boundaries that are really protecting the time that you need to reach your goals. So just notice what this is for you. And really important to do it without a lens of judgment. We're just noticing here. It doesn't have to be wrong or right. We don't need to judge it. It's just what's so, right? We all have our own patterns and things that get in the way. Question number 3 is, when life gets messy, what will I need to believe in order to keep moving towards my goals? Okay, this is the belief work. When life gets messy, as it tends to do, what will I need to believe in order to keep moving towards my goals? We've got to believe that our goals are possible. We have to believe in ourselves, even if we don't know how, right? A belief I have is like, even if I don't know how, I believe this is possible for me. This has really served and supported me in my life. Even if I don't know how, because here's the thing, I generally don't know how when I set a new goal. It's something I've never done before, but I believe it's possible for me. Question number 4 is, what is my true identity? Like, who am I really at a true level of my own identity? And I'll give you a hint here. You're already whole and complete. You are already whole. This question helps you remember that you're not reaching these goals so that you can be worthy. These goals are like icing on the cake. You're already whole. You're already complete. This is you stepping into who you came to be in this lifetime. And then question number 5 is, what would change if I focused less on forcing outcomes and more on being the person who can lead myself through anything that comes my way? This question is really going to help you see that instead of gripping, forcing, getting taken out if a goal doesn't come exactly through the channel you thought it would or exactly on the date that it thought you would, it's really about, okay, I can just lead myself through this. I am able to regroup. I'm able to look with an objective lens about what's not working, make the changes, and keep going. So 5 questions here to add to your goal setting. Would love to invite you to do it over this holiday season if your life is such that you've got some quiet space and it feels good. I think this is a really beautiful time to take on this inner work and make a plan for it. Get really clear with yourself. What are those things that will be required? Where do you need boundaries? Where do you have to say no to other people or to bad habits? Where do you need to do the inner mindset work so that you can really be in a space of belief? Where do you need support? Where do you need to ask for help, or where do you need to work with someone that can help get you there? And then lastly, willingness, right? You want to ask yourself, am I willing to go all the way? This is a great checkpoint. How much do hitting these goals actually matter to me? Am I willing to stick with it even if it gets hard? Am I willing to do this even if it means I have to let go of my old ways of being and old patterns that have, quote unquote, kept me safe? Often these old patterns we have are rooted in survival mechanisms. And so we have to do the inner work that's not always easy. Am I willing to lead myself through all of the twists and turns and, the celebrations and the times when things doesn't work out? Because really this willingness is it's like the energetic container that holds it all together. So this is my invitation to add this to your goal setting practice. Really spend some time getting cozy with this version of you that you are ready to embody now, with the willingness to be all the way in no matter what happens. And then you can make some choices like, hey, what am I going to need to support me in my mindset work? What am I going to need to support me with some strategy if I don't know how to do something, right? How am I going to need to invite my family or my loved ones to support me through this journey? And what kind of, where can I bring someone in to help create the space for me to work on what I need to work on? So I'm excited for the clarity that's going to come through for you on this. And as always, I love it when you reach out and share with me your takeaways from these episodes. Before we go today, there's something coming up next year that I want to make sure I share with you because I am really excited about it. This is something brand new that we are offering at Rise Leadership Circle. So if you're a new listener to the podcast, Kayla and I are the co-hosts here, and we are the co-founders of Rise Leadership Circle. And if you're new, Kayla is both my business partner and my daughter. And we are so excited to welcome you into our very first transformational leadership certification. So this is a 12-month leadership certification, and this is going to be a level 1 self mastery certification for those who are really ready to fully understand, fully embody, and live the art of being self-led. This is the key, right? It's exactly what I'm talking about here is when we really think about what it takes to hit our goals, the inner work is going to be 80% of what makes the difference. The strategy is just the other 20% that brings it all together. And so for level 1, we're really focused on the self-mastery. We teach 12 leadership paradigms inside of our community. And we feel like these 12 help you really fully embody that inner transformative work. And so this is not just intellectually understanding them, but it's living them in every area of your life. Not just your business, where it will really come to play in your business, but also in your relationships, also in your finances, right? Also in the way that you move through the world, in the way that you curate your life. And so I just know that this experience is designed to really, really, truly take your life to the next level. And if you are someone who is interested in having this certification, and of course, knowing that you're leadership certified is going to help you in every area of your business. It, is something you can share with your clients, letting them know you have the certification. In following years, we'll be adding on a level 2, but for this year, we're focused on level 1 because this will be a prerequisite before getting into level 2. And again, this is just really about being the leader in your own life. It's about fully embodying and mastering that art of being self-led. Super powerful work. It is very integrative. It's deep. If it speaks to you and you want details, you can just simply send us a message. You can email our team, support@riseleadershipcircle.com. And as always, you can message me on Instagram. You can message Kayla on Facebook. And we are here to answer questions, help you see if this is right for you. Okay, have a beautiful rest of 2025. May you end this year in such a beautiful way. And I am looking forward to seeing you in 2026.